at the point I woke up from that sleep and put on my computer, and God dropped that I can reach out to so many children by putting the content that I teach in the Monday Club in a book. Every crowd has got a silver lining. Our children will be better if we heard this money conversation from early in life.
Hello viewers, and welcome to another episode of the Conquerors show here on Wema TV. My name is Lepore, and if you've missed our shows, then not to worry. We are on Wema TV YouTube channel under the playlist The Conquerors. Last week we had a lovely conqueror who told us about her journey living with hydrocephalus. What is it? How do you conquer it? Go and watch that video right there on Wema TV YouTube channel. And this week we have another conqueror in studio here to talk to us about COVID-19 and what it did in her life, or rather to her life. She'll tell us more about it in this episode, so please help me welcome Waithaka Ndegwa. I hope I said it right.
Yes. I am Elizabeth Waithaka Ndegwa.
Okay.
Yes.
You're very welcome to the show, and it's lovely to have you here because you're giving us perspective of COVID-19 and so much that happened during COVID-19.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
I'm very honored.
Thank you for honoring the invitation as well.
Thank you.
So as we begin, tell us, who is Elizabeth Waithaka Ndegwa?
Oh, wow. My name is Elizabeth, as we have said. I wear many hats.
Right.
I am a mother, I am a wife, I am an author, I am a money coach. Of course, I am a disciple of the Lord Jesus Christ, and I also minister about the love of Christ.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, there's so much that you said that we have to go into. Wow, you said you're a mother and you're a wife. You're a mother to how many children?
Actually, I am a mother to so many children. I am a biological mother of 4.
Wow.
One of them is with Jesus. Now I mother 3 boys. One of them tells me that when they grew up, they want to be the president of this country.
Amen.
So I'm a very conscious parent because I know I'm raising a president in my house. Yeah.
Wow, that's lovely.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So tell us how your journey began, or where your journey began. You said you're walking with Christ. So when did that begin, and how did that bring up everything in your life?
Okay. My walk with Christ actually started much early in life. I got born again as a small child. I'm brought up in a Christian family, but at some point I felt I really wanted to know Jesus for myself. And that time I was around in class, I don't remember how old I was, but I was around in class 6, class 5. Okay. And here we are in Sunday school. My mother used to send us very far for Sunday school. And when the Sunday school teacher asked who is that child who would want to give their lives to Christ, I had already felt the call and my heart was up.
Wow.
And there I was. And my journey with Christ has never stopped since then. It is over 30 years ago, I can tell you that.
Wow.
Yes, yeah.
Class 6, class 5, I wasn't really like that, but wow, that's amazing. So you started at a young age. I
started at a young age. And in my heart, child as I was, I knew, or I had an idea. I could hear my mother praying, and he knew there is a Jesus. And my father had passed on that time. My father passed on when I was a bit young, and I could hear my mother praying, calling Jesus Father. And I wanted a father. So I knew I wanted this Jesus of my mother to be my father, you know. So I knew I wanted Jesus. And from that time, my walk with Christ has been very, very close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even in campus, because, you know, those are dark years for most youth.
Through primary school, through secondary school, immediately I finished my Form 4. Though I could have qualified to go for campus, I was not in that space. Okay. My parents could not afford to have me in campus, and had not been taken in the regular program, the government program. So I just went to college just by the grace of God. That's a very huge testimony of how I managed to go to college. I was not qualified. I was not those people. But I still continued to walk with Christ amidst so many challenges of the youth, you know, huge ones. But by the grace of God, every time, I cannot say I've been perfect, but every time I try to run away from Christ, for some reason, I knew where I've been, or what I've been taught as a child. The word of God that says that train up a child in the ways that they should go, and even if they are old, they will not depart from it, has been lived in my life. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hey, that's a testimony. I'm sure we need to hear about how you went to college.
Yeah.
And so how did your family life begin?
When I became of age, I knew that I needed to move on with my life. All along, I wanted to have a family. There are two things I had prayed to God from my very young age. I don't know where that information or where that wisdom had come from, but for some reason, God had deposited it in me. I wanted to go to the university, number one. Number two is that I wanted to have a family. I really wanted to have a family. So when I became of age, and there I am, I have finished college, or I'm somewhere in college. I am working, I am living alone, I'm worshiping somewhere. And in that church, and it was a medium church, I knew that I wanted a godly spouse as well. And in that church, I had weighed all the men that we were with in the youth, and I knew there is no man for me here.
Hey.
That one I knew, because I knew them, because I used to serve the Lord closely. So I knew everybody who was serious in the Lord. But I told God, me, I did not come to this church to look for a man. As much as it is my desire that I'll be that family person, I came here to seek for the Lord. So I'll still continue serving. God, you know where you get the man from, and bring him or take me to where he is. And somehow when I was in that church, I think around 2 years, God got somebody from very deep in the village, very deep rural. A guy came to the University of Nairobi to do masters. And I can tell you the rest is history. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You answered prayer. It was the beginning of the family that you wanted. And before we go there, you mentioned something in your introduction, that you're a money coach. And I've heard of life coach, I've heard of sports coach, but money coach, what is that, and what does it entail on your side? And why do we need it as people?
Actually, you are not alone. Every time I say I am a money coach, everybody is like, money coach? I've met a swimming coach,
exactly,
a football coach, but not a money coach.
Yes.
I mean, the subject of money, have been silent. Most of us, me included, we grew up with zero information on money. We were taught many things, how to behave, how to respect our elders, you know, even how to look for God. You see, my mother sent me to the Sunday school very far when I'm a very young girl, plus my other siblings. But who talks about money?
No one.
Can you imagine? The money subject is just silent.
Exactly.
Yeah. So for me, at some point in my journey, I got that calling. Actually, I'm trained in the area of finance.
Okay.
My story of how I went to train in that is a huge one. I should give it someday. Yeah. But eventually I knew it's not just a career. It is a calling for me to help people in the area of money, for me to cultivate these positive money habits, attitudes, skills from an age. You know, lessons that are learned early in life, they try to stick a lifetime. And I know our generation or our children would be better if we heard this money conversation from early in life. So that's what money coaching is about. I teach children about money, young adults, teenagers. I teach in churches. And when I started, actually when the calling came, I just highlight that I started doing pro bono trainings, maybe in churches, because the weight was so heavy on me. And I don't know, I cannot convince people I can teach them about money. So I started doing pro bono in churches, in groups of people. And you know, every time I went to train somewhere about money, people kept saying, I should have met you earlier. I should have met you when I was a bit younger. The mistakes that I have made around money, I would not have made them. I would be better off with money. And you know, people kept saying that until I knew there's a gap I am leaving behind. That's how I went back to the children. And when I went back to the children, it became the signature, our signature product. I had already put together a team. And when we started teaching children about money, it almost overtook everything else.
Wow.
So really, as much as I train everybody else about money, children are my specialty.
Children?
Children, yes.
So I don't even know how that works, because as children, like you're saying, we were not taught about money, we were taught about Christ and other things. So in today's world, what approach do you use to a child to get them to understand this is money? Because as a child, if you steal money, it's a problem. If you spend money that's not yours, it's a problem. So we grew up knowing money is bad. How do you change such a mindset?
Can you imagine we grew up knowing that money is bad?
Yes.
When it is not true. Money is not bad. Money is good. It's how we date with it. And my child, who is 3-year-old, I sent them to the shop. Go and buy milk and make sure you bring back change. That is a money conversation right there happening. They start early in life. It's only that we are not conscious. Yes. And maybe our parents or our guardians did also not know what to tell us about money. Right. What were they told themselves? So we always know that money is bad. And there's this verse in First Timothy in the Bible that says that the love of money is the beginning of all evil. But we always misquote that one. We are saying that money is the love of all evil. It is not true. So if at all a child who is 3 years old, even less, can be sent to the shop, have you not started the money education? Yeah. So when our program starts from 5 years of age, we start telling them you can save money. Money is good. You can relate with it well. You can budget for your money. Corruption is bad, you know. But money itself is good. Okay. And you know, lessons that are learned early in life, they tend to stick a lifetime. It's true. Yeah. It's true. Yeah, so we are focusing on the upcoming generation to make their world better around money.
Wow. When did you get this calling? Because this is really a calling.
It has been a journey, a very long journey. Yeah. Because when I was going to do, I'm a trained accountant. I'm a full accountant. I thought I am supposed to manage organizations' money. Yeah. So my area is more about money. And when I was a small child, I don't know how old, but I know I was less than around 5 or so. There was a small house in my home where I was growing up. I'm born and brought up in Nyandarua County. And I used to see my mother knitting sisal into a rope. Okay. And I was imagining, I want to knit so many ropes, and I fill this house, and I sell, and I get the money. You know? I was thinking like that. So I think it was just in me. It's only that I had not discovered. But I only discovered after training, after I started, I thought it was a career for me, only to realize with time that it is a calling. Yeah.
Especially the aspect of teaching children. That's really a calling.
About money, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. So back to speaking about how you nurtured it into your way of life. When COVID came, because this is more about your COVID testimony. When COVID came, how did that affect you as Elizabeth?
I had actually now diverged all. Started the children money coaching program. And I was doing, before COVID, I was doing programs, maybe in homes. You're calling me, you have a group of kids, and I'm teaching them about money. And it now had started becoming something, it had started being accepted. During the holidays, I used to call children in a boot camp around money.
Like a VBS?
We used to call it the money club. Wow. Do 3 days with children, and there we are. Talk whatever it is that we can talk around money. But now I used to always have a challenge because the only place I had access to is around Gong Road. Okay. to do these programs. So I had parents from Thika Road or from Mombasa Road asking me how can I access this program for my child. But now the distance is too much, and you cannot have a child for the whole day, so the parent has to drop the child and pick them at some point during the day. And there's a lot of traffic, and somebody is working, so it becomes very challenging. At that point, God put it in my spirit to reach out to these children the easiest way, and that's how I started doing the money club in schools. I started approaching schools as an extra, for them to sign up for the money club as an extra curricular, as a life skill. And started schools had started warming up, and I was into various schools. That was in the year 2020. 2020. And that's when COVID came. Just three allowed. No, I had done it 2019 that term, then 2020 first term, just not more than allowed. COVID was in March, April there. Yeah, just 3 months into it, and COVID is here, and the schools are closed. And I've stopped everything else. All trainings, all gatherings have been banned. Children at home. Yeah. Everybody is worried. We don't know what this COVID is and what it brings. We are not used to staying in the confinement of home. Exactly. And that was how that was the turning. That was like a breaking point for this calling. Oh my. Yeah. So at that point, we're at home. The calling is so heavy on me, and I'm thinking I can only meet. I cannot, as a person or as my small team, I can only reach to so many children. Yes. Yeah, and there are many children who would want to get to this subject. Yes. How do I reach to them? And even the schools that had started approaching, and I knew I could, as a person or as a small team, I could only get to so many. I knew there's a problem, and of course, even if there was no that problem, there was no going out, there was no traveling, there was nothing. So when COVID started and the schools are closed and we're at home, initially in my family or in my house, the house used just to remain quiet. We were really sleeping ourselves.
What about you? Weren't you working?
Now I had stopped working because this money coaching had become something. And I was doing it as a business. So that was my job. Here it is, it has been hit. Oh my. We are done. We are not going anywhere. My husband used to work outside of Nairobi. He's at home. He's also not working. Yeah, the country is
shut down. Yeah.
literally on a standstill. And we are worried about COVID. So we are even worried of venturing outside the house. We catch COVID by the door. Exactly. Yeah. So we are just, for some reason, me and my children and my family, we just used to sleep. And we used to do just one meal a day. Because now we are not going anywhere, so you're not hungry. So we are worried. There's no money, the jobs have stopped. We don't know what we are expecting. The anxiety is real. So we just used to sleep ourselves out. Wake up at 10, take breakfast, go back to bed, stay in bed. You wake back up again at 4. Apart from those who are looking at the few COVID updates here and there, we were worried even about the TV because we are seeing people there and we don't know how COVID spreads. So we just slept ourselves out. And now 1 week into it, we are sleeping, there's no hope. Second week into it. That week, we are still sleeping in the same pattern.
For 3 weeks?
For 3 weeks. There's no moving out of that house. There's no moving out of bed. Can you imagine? And Laura, I always say it is not me who says, it's somebody who said that every crowd has got a silver lining. Yes. That sleep, after sleeping continuously at some point I decided I am waking up, and for the first time, I think in 3 weeks or in a month, I put on my computer and started thinking, now, how will I ever reach these children for me to impart this calling? And you know, from that, when I put on that computer, God dropped into me the idea that I can still reach out even to these children that I'm worried about. Through writing a book. Of course, I was going into depression. I've never slept like that in my whole life. So I'm going to depression and I'm just going down. The anxiety is just too much. I don't know what we about tomorrow, and my children are young. Nobody knows what is happening. I can feel I am sinking. Yeah, but at that point, I woke up from that sleep and put on my computer. And God dropped that I can reach out to so many children by putting the content that I teach in the Monday Club in a book.
Wow.
That was a turning point.
Oh my. Oh my. Okay, so you've said so much.
Yeah.
Let me ask you about, like you're saying, you're going into depression and you're at home. You know, most people go into depression when they are maybe lonely or alone, or they feel they can't talk to anyone. But now you're a full house. How does that even happen? And how did you know you were slipping into depression? Because you can sleep today, tomorrow if you think you're okay, 3 weeks you think you're okay. But were there any signs that showed you?
One thing that I know is that when something is not right, you may not be clear, but you can tell there's something that is not right. Of course, initially I thought it is COVID. I am in the midst of my family.
Yes.
But you know, COVID broke so many other systems of life, and our jobs were among the ones that were really hit. And for me, I was hit squarely in my job, even in my husband's. Now we don't know whether there is a job, and our children are small, so that anxiety is real. But when I'm sleeping like that, I'm in Nairobi, this house is paid, food is bought, and the like, the anxiety is real. As much as I am allowed them, I could fail either because of that anxiety or because of the other challenges of life. And I'm saying my job was hit. The second thing to be hit was my marriage. Yeah. Okay. Either because they are also going through the same frustration. So there's, at some point, there's a lot of back and forth happening. There are a lot of challenges everywhere. And that's how I knew. Of course, that is after I had woken up and I had started writing. That's how I knew that I'm just going down. I could tell something is not working. And this is not about COVID. There's something deep. I was actually sinking. I could tell. I've never been depressed from the real of it, but I could tell I was just going down the road.
You were slowly sinking.
Sinking into a hole that is seems endless. I could tell I was sinking. So even the scribbling, for me to start writing the book, I was just scribbling to distract myself. To put out those thoughts, or to take control of my mind. So I just woke up to start scribbling to help myself, connect with myself. But now that's when I think about the book, to meet the children. And I can tell you, I thought that is the book that I am doing for connecting with the children. But it is a turning point, because from that one book, so many others were born. In that space, in that overcoming that depression. Of course, at some point, by the grace of God, I was able to rise above it. But I can tell you, it's a place you don't want to be.
And I think we'll end it there for now, and take this opportunity to welcome you next week to tell us more about how you overcame depression through expressing yourself, you know, through your writing, like you're saying, one but another. And I'm sure so many people may be going through the same thing. maybe not because of COVID, but because of things in the family. You spoke about your marriage, you spoke about sleeping, your job, so many things going down. And that can affect someone even mentally. And these are things that we need to talk about more often. So thank you very much for coming today. And I think I'll take this opportunity to welcome you next week to tell us more about your journey and tell us something that I'm sure for now, right now, I'm relating to so much that you're saying. Staying indoors and going to the gate was an event when COVID hit.
Can you imagine?
You wear your shoes that you haven't worn for how many weeks? Just going to the gate. And so thank you very much for opening up in this episode.
Thank you.
Yes, we'd like to invite Elizabeth next week. So if you have any questions, put it in the comment section below and we are sure to get back to you. If you'd like to get in touch with her, stay tuned because she's yet to drop her contact information. But you can also do so in the comment section below and get in touch with Wema right now. My name is Lepore. We'll see you next week for part 2 of this impactful testimony. Keep it Wema TV, the voice of hope.